All right, welcome everybody to our Lifewave team call. We have a special guest today, Dr. Nicholas Tivoli, and Robin Mascari is going to do introductions. And after the introductions, then Francis will begin the interview, and there will be an opportunity for questions after. All right, let's begin. Over to you, Robin.
Well, thank you, Katharina. And hello, everybody. Nice to be with you again. And I'm thrilled to be on with you this morning or wherever you are in the afternoon to introduce my sponsor. And I got privileged to get to work very closely with Dr. Nicholas in the early days. He's too busy now. I get him once in a while, but
your fault.
It's one of the highest compliments you can give someone. It's all your fault. So a little bit of intro on Dr. Nicholas. He is a chiropractor of over 21 years, is in practice in Arizona, and he's going to share his story a little bit in a minute about how he got introduced to Lifewave. Had no background or experience in network marketing, was a bit shocked when he found out it was network marketing, and then he learned about the business, and the rest is history, as you might say. He's been with Lifewave over 11 years and has patched thousands and thousands of people. And I quote him all the time because he says, you know, these patches can't hurt you. You know, trust your instinct. If it says to move it to this strange place, do it and see what happens. And so it's really wonderful to have him as a guide. And I wanted to make sure everyone knew how to access Dr. Nicholas. He has his own YouTube channel where he's putting up some protocols, and there's some really helpful ones there. And if you go to YouTube and you put in Dr. Nicholas Tivoli, and I spelled it out in the chat section, and it's Nicholas Tivoli DC, and you will find him on the YouTube channel with those protocols. Also on Wednesdays at noon Pacific, he does a Lifewave overview of the company and patch call, and then there's always time for testimonials and questions. So that's the best way to access Dr. Nicholas right now. He's got a huge team all over the world, and we're blessed to have him in our organization as our upline. And so has Francis joined us and yet? Francis, are you here? All right, well, I'll start until he gets here. How's that? All right, so Dr. Nicholas, welcome.
Thanks for being here, having me, appreciate it.
Yes, we love having you. I'm always learning from you, always, always, always. So I think because you're new to a lot of people on this call, if you can kind of give the intro of how you got involved in Lifeway, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, cool. So yeah, so my business partner, Dr. Joan, was having some really serious health issues 11 years ago, and she's was losing memory, she was losing her eyesight, she was having heart issues, thought she was having a heart attack a few times, had whole body pain, digestive issues. So, you know, when you start having those kind of problems and you think you're living a healthy lifestyle, you start to question a lot of things. So one of our patients came into our office and showed us this article on, by Suzanne Summers that was written. She wrote an article on light therapy, and we read the article, and it was pretty fascinating. We just got into using lasers. We were using them for probably a year or two. And so we, she said she'd written this book called 8 Steps to Wellness called Breakthrough. So Joan was a big reader, so we go over to the bookstore and she gets the book and starts reading it. And at the time, that was really when things were really controversial with bioidentical hormones, stem cell therapy, a lot of non-pharmaceutical therapies. And all she's doing is interviewing different doctors in the book on what they're doing and their specialty and how they're helping people that are, you know, getting well. And most of them are medical doctors, or all of them are, I think. So when she was reading through the chapters, she would try different things to see if it would help her get better. And nothing really was making a big dramatic change. So the second to last chapter in the book, chapter 33, was on Lifewave. And it's a fascinating read. I tell everybody to read it. It's so rich with information. And I can even send you the chapter if you like, because I got permission from Suzanne Summers to give it out. And that's how I educated patients about what the patches do. I said, just read this. If you read it, you're going to want to try it. And so we didn't know it was network marketing. We called Lifewave because the number was in the back of the book. And I said, I want to order these things and try them out, because I was really big into glutathione. That was what caught me and got my attention. I was doing IV drips and nutritional supplements, and it was helpful, but it wasn't like miraculous. So we called Lifewave and we said, hey, we want to try these things. They said, well, who told you about it? And I said, Suzanne Summers, no lie. And they said, well, you got to sign up under somebody. You can't sign up under her. I'm like, what's that mean? And it didn't dawn on me it was network marketing. So they said, well, you live in Phoenix or Arizona, so we'll sign you up under somebody in Phoenix. And I'm like, okay, just give me the product. I don't understand this language. And so we ordered a lot of it, and I didn't have anybody tell me how to use this stuff. I just had the little pictures and diagrams. I'm like, okay, I don't understand this, but I just started putting patches on Joan. And I kept putting more on her because nothing was happening. I kept expecting something, you know? So she didn't really feel anything, and we were still practicing at the time. When she would practice, she would have to literally see a patient and then literally lay down and then see a patient. So she had a different type of a practice. That's why we got into the laser, so she could continue doing some form of practice, when I did a completely different style of adjusting. And I just checked on her throughout the day, didn't notice any big changes. And till the end of the evening, that's when things started to get really different. And I was like, you know, you're standing up and you're talking and you look like something's changed. Are you okay? And she says, I feel great. Let's go out. I'm like, there's no way. Usually you're like so sick and dying. Like, how is this possible? You know, because it just started to shift. And so I said, let's wait. Let's just make sure there's no real crazy things like your body's revving and then you're going to die or something like that. Because that's kind of what happens when you go through that. And so the next day she says, her eyesight got better. All of her floaters in her eyes were gone. And so this is one of the reasons why we really got into the glutathione, was her mother had macular degeneration, and we were doing IV drips because that really helps to support the eye. And it just detoxifies the body. But glutathione is made in the lens of the eye. It's made in your skin. It's made in your liver. But as you get older, you just have less of it. So the next day, all of a sudden, she said, my eyesight's like high definition television. And I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. And then she started having more and more energy, and she felt great. And she goes, you know, we were sitting there thinking we can't wear this many patches every day, can't afford it, you know. And then she started seeing how she likes to create. She's very creative thinker, type A personality, and she's had all this memory back. And she just zipped through like a week's worth of work in like 2 hours. And I'm just like, this is crazy, you know. And so she goes back to work, and all of our patients are like, I've never met this lady. Who's this person? They've never seen her look and feel and act this good. And I'm like, I don't really know what to do or what I did, but try these out. And I had patients put the patches on, and one by one, they were getting all these really exciting changes. And I couldn't deny it. I'm like, this is crazy, you know? So I'm like, this is like the hottest thing I've ever seen in 12 and a half years of practice at the time. And so everybody started talking about it to other people, and it kind of went viral through our clinic. We had a huge increase in referrals. We had a bunch of people start saying, hey, I want to tell other people, and I'm going to share this with my family. They live in Minnesota. I'm like, okay, go ahead. And I go, well, I want to sign up. I'm like, go ahead. And everybody signed up, and I'm like, holy crap, we just made a bunch of money, and I didn't know what I was doing. So we started learning a little bit about the business and trying to figure out how to do it, and we started doing meetings. And I think it was our third meeting, we had 125 people show up to our clinic. It was standing room only. It was crazy. I mean, it really just it took off and went viral. And so the Diamond Kit came on in September, and we started in like late October, early November. And so they didn't really sell any diamonds yet, because Lifewave was just the bronze, silver, gold kit. And we ordered the big kit, thinking, all right, we're just going to use a bunch of this product for ourselves. And it was the best buy. Well, that's what everybody signed up as, because everybody's like, well, what'd you sign up as? And they go, well, I paid $1,500. And I go, okay, I'll do that. And we signed up like 40 diamonds in 1 week. So that's quite a bit of money. And we made it into the top 10 earners in the second month of Lifewave. So you can imagine we were pretty excited. I'm like, this is the easiest business I've ever seen. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, what if we really work this thing and see what happens? So we did it part-time for a year, and we just did a meeting once a week. I was calling a lot of people. And all I was doing was calling to the chiropractor, telling them what I did and saying, you open to looking at this? And a lot weren't, and that's okay. I was like, all right, sucks to be you, your loss. And eventually some of them came on. So we worked it another year because we were like, okay, we really want to see if this is for real. And we did really well. And it was enough for us because there was no overhead. It was like making more than what we were making in practice. So it's like, okay, let's quit and go full time. And that's what we've been doing for the last 9.5 years, doing Lifewave full time. I do practice part time right now. My wife is a chiropractor and she's full time practicing, but our main thing is really patching, and like having the flexibility to do this anywhere, and not have to work if I don't want to, or if I don't want to work the whole week, I can take off and I'm still making money. And I couldn't do that in practice. So that's the shift for us to go from practicing where you have the brick and mortar and you have all the overhead and the stress that goes with it. And it's like, that's what was killing us. It was like, 'cause we were getting so big and the stress level of it was like, okay, this is no longer healthy. We're killing ourselves. And once we shifted that, it's like living on vacation all the time. I mean, this job is not a job, but it took a lot of work. It wasn't easy, but it's not easy. It's just better, as Eric Worre says. And it, you know, if you work it consistently, it'll pay. It does. It's like the patches. If you use them long enough, you'll get the results you're looking for. Some are faster than others. That's just the nature of it. So that's my story.
Thank you.
Hey, Doc, I apologize. This is Francis over here. I've just been listening. You are such an inspiration, and we have some common friends. Robin's a new friend, but Kai is a longtime friend. And I'm just so delighted to not just to listen to your words, but your energy is so great. And so we're all very, very grateful you're on. And thank you for facilitating that, Robin. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I heard exactly how you would talk to a health professional about this. Did you already cover that?
No, I mean, I just gently, I mean, not really, I just sort of scratched on it. I mean, it's not like it's really easy just because I am one. I know the ins and outs of what most chiropractors go through, so that's who I call. I mainly call chiropractors, and I try to talk to them about the therapy and see if I could get them to look at it and try it. And, you know, there's a lot of no's, you know, but like, you know, Jim Rohn says, you make up in numbers what you lack in skills. So it's just a numbers game, you know. So I called about 30 people a day. I started out at 60 a day. And this is when there was still a phone book, actually. So how old this is, even though time is not, it's not been that long ago. And I just went through the phone book and just started calling people. Well, you know how there's some people have an ad and then their last name shows up later. I was calling the same people twice within the same hour with my whole same pitch. Talk about embarrassing. But, you know, you're like, oh, yeah, I just called you. I'm like, oh, oops. So, you know, I was swimming in numbers. That's all it was. It was just calling people. I just have this little book, and it looks like this. It's a 3-ring notebook binder. I write down the name, number, who I spoke to, and then I follow up. And it was, like I said, it was just a calling numbers game. And I just called them and said, hey, Dr. Nicholas, I'm in Glendale. I got to practice, and I'm using these products. It works for, you know, and it's making our practice work better, and we're getting all these great clinical outcomes. And they're like, oh, is this a sales call? I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm going to try not to be like a jerk and lie. I'm just like, yes, I'm sharing some information I think you really should look at. And then if you're open to it, try it out. If it doesn't work, get your money back. There's no loss, you know, it's a risk-free deal. And it was, again, challenging because to get to the doctor isn't the easiest thing. You got the gatekeeper. That's what they're trained to do because they get calls all the time about the newest, latest, greatest. And you just have to be consistent and persuasive. And there's no real, like, magic, like, oh, yeah, I got the edge on this. I'm not calling network marketers. I was calling chiropractors. So I didn't get the duplication part that I needed. I couldn't get people to call other doctors that I was doing. It's like, it's not that hard. It's just you got to deal with some of the headaches that, you know, doctors go through, but I kind of knew what they go through, so I could explain how I could get them to that place. And if they really took a look at it and really tried it, inevitably they got really good results. And then they saw it didn't take away from their practice, because if this thing is so good and you don't have to come see me, I'm not going to have a practice. So doctors are fearful of that. And that's how I address that up front. I say it will not take away from your practice. It actually enhances your clinical outcomes. You get bigger changes, which makes patients excited, which means they refer. excited patients refer, satisfied ones don't. So this was a therapy that just complemented the adjustment. It didn't take place of it because we have a lot of pain tools. It's like my lasers, but my lasers took 5 to 10 treatments with one application. That this I only took one application. And also I'm thinking, okay, this is cheaper and faster because I needed something to be fast because I had a high volume practice. So the talking to other doctors, you know, if you're not a doctor, obviously you're going to say, hey, I'm the new lady. I tell people, say you're the local rep for a new therapy and you're going to give them a demonstration if they're open. Say, I'm going around the area, giving free demonstrations, and are you open to take a look? And then you got to go in there and do a song and dance, and it's not easy. I've done a lot. Some were successful and some were horrible because I couldn't get any changes. And I'm going, oh crap, this is embarrassing. I'm telling them how great this stuff is and it's going to change the world. And they go, I don't feel anything. I'm like, okay, let's try a different person. Give me more than one person. I mean, I had one doctor, I called him for probably 4 months. And he was so funny because he's like, no, I don't want to, this is an MLM. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I'm like, but you got to see what it does to your patients. It really can help them, you know? And he just kept blowing me off, but I kept calling him. I don't know why. And finally he goes, okay, I'm going to let you come into my office for 1 hour on Monday morning. And he brought in his most challenging patients, and they're all freaking Medicare, older people. And I'm like, oh God, this is going to be a tough nut to crack. And every single one of them got big changes. And he kept me there for 3 hours because I was patching his full practice. And we sold a whole bunch of patches. And then he's like, okay, I got to get into this because his patients were demanding it. So he got pulled in because of his patients. So those are some of my really good stories. And it's just been a blessing. But again, it's not easy. You got to go in there. You got to have some information. You got some studies. You got to be able to have product. That's what I did. I carried all the product with me. Like right now, I keep between 5 and 10 packs of the same patches. I mean, this is a business. You treat it like a business. And you invest in it. So you're spending that money to make money. You know, you got to spend a nickel to make a dollar. And so when I would go in a doctor's office, I literally could sign them up, say, here's an application. I gave it to them, or I'd fill it out for them. And then I'd give them the kit that I was selling, whether it be a silver, a gold, diamond, whatever. I was ready to give it to them so they could get started right away. I didn't want to say, hey, wait a week to get your stuff, and I'll come back. And that time gap messed everything up. So I just carry it with me. I felt if you want to go for it, that's kind of the way I go for it and recommend it. But again, not everybody can afford to do that. So, but at one point in time in our practice, we carried 50 of every pack. That's how much we were moving and selling. And so we became like the hub for Lifewave in Tucson. In terms of like our practice, we're bringing people in to sign up. And they knew they could come in our office and get the patches and then walk out with them right then and there. And then we reordered or we'd sign the person up under them and then have the product shipped back to us and just rotated our inventory. So we constantly had inventory so we could do this. So this isn't the average norm. It's not duplicatable, but that's how we did it. And it, you know, we just called a lot of docs. I personally signed up 500 doctors and I have not recruited in a long time. And I have to get back into it because this business requires it. You can't not work. You have to keep bringing people in. It's the nature of the business. It will not thrive if you think you got it. It doesn't work that way. It's just like a practice for me. I always had to have new patients coming in because patients always left. But the product grew some of those people back is what I found in terms of like reactivating them. So it's a really cool reactivation product as well. But yeah, that's it. That's what I did. So hopefully that helps some people.
Hey, Doc, how do you handle it when when a doctor asks you over the phone, is this one of those pyramids or is this one of those MLMs?
Yeah, I tell them it's a hybrid. This is a Kai phrase, you know, it's a hybrid company, hybrid system. They're like, well, what's that mean? And it's like, it's a perfect way to spin it around and say, well, you can sign up and get an account and sell it retail or as a therapy, just like any other therapy or product you sell in your office. And that's the hybrid part. Okay, so you're not signing anybody up. You're not talking about the business. And then you can say, and if you want to sign other doctors up, you can. So we kind of spun it that way where it was like, kind of like a doctor's program, which it wasn't, but we were just saying we were working only with doctors, so we called it that, and said doctors were signing other doctors up. So they're like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, you know? And so that was just our angle that we created, and it was just out of thin air. I mean, really, there's no doctor's program or anything, but we pretty much created stuff for them, you know? And I mean, I'm not doing that anymore. I mean, I'm truly just like in the management mode and helping everybody else get to where they can, you know, get as educated as I am and not have to call me. So I want to make sure I simplify this so easy that anybody can do it. And you don't have to be a doctor, because if I start spouting off all this great information and sound like David Schmidt, everybody's going to go, well, that's cool, but I couldn't do that. I'm not as smart as him. So it's got to be dumb and stupid and simple. So that's it.
That's easy for me, Doc. That's easy for me. Dumb, simple, and stupid.
Yeah.
Could you tell us also? Robin had mentioned that you have a YouTube channel, and would you mind sharing that with us? Is that available?
We did already. It's over in the chat box. You just type in my name in YouTube, Nicholas Tivoli DC, and it'll come up to my YouTube channel. And I put about 7 or 8 videos now. And they're like 2 minutes, a minute and a half, real short, because no one's got an attention span any longer than that. So I try to make this real quick and simple that you can say, oh, that's how you patch for pain. And I gave multiple scenarios with multiple ideas of patches. So you want to look at them all to kind of figure out something that may make sense to you that you can use or share with people. So again, it's all about how to point and shoot and direct, like Robin says. You're trying to get people to be self-sufficient and be able to do it on their own. So we're creating these videos to help them do that.
That's wonderful. Do you think it'd be okay for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes that we can open this up to a few questions? Would that be okay with you, Doc?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask you, folks, is that when you unmute yourself, just tell us your first name and where you're from, and please make the question very brief. Okay, just *6 and say your name, where you're from, and what your brief question is. Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'll start. I'm Katrina. I'm from San Diego, Dr. Nicholas, and it's such a pleasure to have you on this call. My question is, you said you simplified the process for yourself because you are probably reaching out to people who aren't doctors now as well, or you're teaching people like me how to reach out to people who aren't doctors. Can you just, in a few minutes, run through what your approach is and
that's what I don't do. I'm trying to learn now how to reach the lay person and talk to them in lay terms of like selling the product or the business, because I feel like I'm starting brand new now, because I always called chiropractors, you know, and when you talk to certain people, are like, call network marketers. I'm like, well, I don't know any. So how do you do this? You know, and you just have to develop them and help create them, because we didn't start off as a network marketer. We had to learn it. So, I mean, Robin and Gregory got tons of information that, you know, there's so many tools to help people. And again, it's such a numbers game. It's not like you're trying to do something different. You're just saying, hey, I got a product that's really helping my knee. I've seen it work dramatically. Are you open to looking? Or you can tell them, hey, what do you know about stem cell therapy? And more people than not say, oh, yeah, I've already tried it. Or, oh, I've looked into it, but I can't afford it. Or, oh, that's not for me. And I go, well, hey, I have an alternative. It's working for me, and I have a bunch of people trying it. Are you open to taking a look? That's it, you know, and you just talk to people and you patch them, and then you follow up. You just got to follow up. So it's a numbers game, but you got to get their information to follow them up. I mean, like I said, when I was doing my massive calling, I got to where I was getting people to sign up. On average, I was averaging about 25 signups a month when I was in my full-on heyday, crazy going. And then I wasn't able to take care of them. So that was the other bad part. So it's like you have to find a balance where you can help them get them sustained to stick and make sure they're getting good results. You can't just bring them in. That became the easy part. It's keeping them. You know, this business is very easy to get into, but it's just as easy to get out of. So you have to show the value of the product or whatever that is that makes sense to you. I mean, I'm product always first. The business came second, but I was very passionate about it, and that passion spills over into the energy of people wanting to try it. And then if they don't, you just got to say it sucks to be you. I mean, really, because they're missing out on something so powerful and so dramatic that it's changed more lives than anything I've ever seen, anything, and saved lives like I've never seen before. So it's not just a Me Too product. It is truly ahead of its time. And now it's kind of like there's a tipping point happening where the masses are kind of collectively understanding now light therapy is the future of medicine. I mean, we are dealing with it right now, and we have it in our hands right now, and you don't have to be a doctor to use it or administer it. So it's the coolest thing for you. So, again, it's just trying to get people to try a different therapy or a different concept, because it's not a pill, it's not a drink, it's not a lotion. It's a non-transdermal patch with nothing going in your body. Okay, that's a tough one to sell sometimes, but if you can tell them your story and say, I've had these great changes and you may want to look into this, just give it simple and follow up. That's it. That's all it is. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely. One of the things that John and I both noticed about a month after using the X39 patch, we had other things happen immediately, but one of the surprising things was the flexibility of the joints and also muscle strength.
Yeah.
So we're both getting older. We're in our mid to late 50s. And so we found that it was harder and harder to get up out of the car. We have just a regular sedan. We were thinking, oh no, we're gonna have to buy an SUV or a minivan. And because it was harder and harder to pull ourselves out of the car. And interestingly enough, 30 days into using the X39 patch, we found, we practically jumped out of the car. And I said, John, did you just see that? I actually got out of the car easily, like I did 5 years ago when I was a lot stronger and younger. So it really cemented the realization, okay, this is working. This is doing a lot more than just softer skin and better hair, which is also wonderful.
Yeah, those are nice byproducts, but it's truly your health, your overall health. And if you are acting like you're 5 years younger, you probably are. And that's the cool part about this product. It's truly reversing the age of the body. It isn't slowing it down, it's reversing it. And that's what's so unbelievable. So that's the selling point to share with people. You just gotta share it with people, man. I mean, there's so many people. You're in San Diego, you're in like the biggest, hottest place in the world to be selling this stuff. And you got David Schmidt right there in your backyard. So
That's right.
it's very cool. So yeah, good for you. So yeah, just share away.
Thank you. All right. So who else has a question?
Star 6 will unmute you, folks.
All right.
Hello, Doc.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Francis, did you
Go
ask
ahead.
something?
Ori, why don't you go ahead? Thank you. And then John.
Sorry, John.
No, go ahead, Ori.
Not age before beauty in this case. Hi, doctor.
Hey.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, as a matter of fact, for us, it's been a bit of a challenge because we have a lot of friends in the wellness arena, be it in like fitness studios, or I've had continuous chiropractic work done on me over the past 2 decades from motorcycle accidents and this, that, and the other. So I am now trying to reach out to these chiropractors that worked on me once upon a time. But you say that the #1 fear for them is what I assumed is that if it's fixing them, that they're not going to want to come, and it's like the mechanic that fixes your radiator but messes with your timing belt kind of thing, to make sure that you keep coming. To make the question brief is, is there one specific product that you are recommending to sort of get your foot in the door? Because I'm becoming pretty well versed on the X39 versus the rest.
When I used to recruit, I was using Icewave because that was for me, it was easy to demonstrate and it was more successful with pain relief. So when you're dealing with doctors that deal with pain, you want to show them a pain, demonstration. So X39 is a great product. It doesn't work as well for instant pain relief. It does on some people. It's kind of weird how it works, but more than not, the Ice Wave for me was the big one that I could really get them to see it and play with it and get an experience. And then it was an easier sell to use the other ones, because I would use Ice Wave, glutathione, and Neon. Before X39 came out, that was the pain management combination. And they used to market it that way even. So you just want to wow them. You know, if you can get in the door, you just want to get their attention. So you better make sure you're packed and ready. And that's usually why I like demonstrating the other ones and say, this works the same way. Like, I can't demonstrate the sleep patch for you, but the others work this way. If you can feel this, the others are doing the same thing, but you can't demonstrate it the same way. So Ice Wave for me was the most demonstratable patch to deal with most people, because most people have pain. So you kind of want to go where they are. If you go into a doctor's office and you're selling a sleep patch and he only works with pain, he's not going to be interested, you know? So you want to try to hook them with where they are, and then say, hey, we got this stem cell therapy patch, and everybody's interested in that, but it's not as demonstratable. So you want to show a demonstration first, and that's what I used to do, and it worked. Not all the time, but you know, most of the time it was pretty successful. And it's cool because when you can get somebody really excited and they see it, the doctor's like blown away when they see their most challenging patient get results almost instantly. It's very gratifying. I mean, it's really like makes you go, wow, this is why I do this, you know, because it's so powerful. And what can do that? You know, there's nothing out there that can, that I've seen. So that's what I would say on.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, our next challenge is going to be going after the fitness studios, because I know a lot of people here, and you know, I've already posted this question on our Facebook chat as far as, you know, would X39 be the right product to approach them with because of the muscle recovery and tissue repair and all that stuff?
Well, you know, again, it's like they're all good. You know, when I was full on in Lifewave, man, I got permission at the gym. I worked out at Gold's Gym in Tucson, and they let me just go around patching people. And I literally was just walking around with energy patches, because that's what I thought was so great then for the bodybuilders or people exercising. And I'd say, do you want to try an experiment? The gym allowed me to come in and give demonstrations. And so not everybody did, and some people felt it and some people didn't. But the cool one, I actually videoed it. It's on YouTube. It's not on my channel, though. It's just posted out there, Lifewave patches. And there's a guy that was doing like a leg press. And you know how you go through your exercise movement and then you finally get exhausted and you take a break. I said, all right, now let's put the patches on. And I put the patches on him, and he just started doing his exercise, and he kept going, and he did more reps than he did the first time when he should have been more fatigued. And it was fascinating to watch this guy looking at me while he's still doing it, going, what the heck did you do to me? Because I taped him on the top of his shirt, not even on his skin, one, to show it's non-transdermal. So they know there's no chemical or drug. You know, you want to make sure you're addressing that. And then hopefully he feels it, you know, and that's the numbers game. So, and I was just going around demonstrating to people. But yeah, so the gyms, you know, I mean, I didn't have a lot of success with it, but that doesn't mean, you know, you shouldn't do it. Like I had a lot of people tell me, oh, you can't do mall show, or you can't do like what is it? I'm trying to think now. Like doing a booth. Get a booth at like a, you know, a chiropractic convention or a healing convention or something that's got to do with alternatives. And you don't have to do that. You can go to do a home show, do the home garden show. And there's tons of people walking around in pain. And all I did was say, hey, do you want to experience a new product for pain relief? I'll do a free demo. You know, and I put the patches on them, get them out of pain, and then I pull them off because it was a free demo. I wasn't giving the patches away. I was giving a free demo. And they're like, hey, I want those back. I'm like, all right, well, they're $5 a piece. You got to sell it. You can't give it away. So anyway, that's what I was doing, and I did really well. But again, not everybody can do that, you know, and it's like find what works for you and do it like crazy. Just do it forever. Don't give up. Don't stop. You can quit when you make $1 million. Then you can quit. Until then, you got to keep going. That's what I tell everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Dr. Nick. This is John.
Hey, John.
At the convention, sir, I thought I heard you mention a treatment protocol for knee pain. And I thought you said something about rebuilding the cartilage over I thought it was several months. Well, anyway, could you go over that again, please?
Yeah, it was just using the glutathione and the Eon, and that's one of my videos on YouTube, so you know. It didn't matter which side you put it on. It just, you put the glutathione on one side of the knee and the Eon on the other side of the knee. And within a month, I have a chiropractor that's taking visual images of his knee, and you can see the joint spacing increasing. Okay, so that's a way to show, unless you do an MRI, to show that there's actual cartilage. So this was what some doctors were doing over in Italy years ago, and they were experimenting with the patches to see if they can actually regrow and regenerate a knee. And they were doing it with the Eon and glutathione. So if you have an area that's a concern, put it there. You can stack them on top of each other, or you can use 2 of each, depending on how severe your pain is.
Huh. Oh, great, thanks. Did Robin mention that you were going to go over just briefly what the different patches are for? Are you still planning on doing that today, or do we look it up on your videos? How do you?
I mean, I can overview real quick, but yeah, I do that. I do a call every Wednesday at noon, and I go through every patch and explain them a little bit, do a little history, and then I open it up for Q&A, and then get some testimonials or whatever. It's just an open call. It is so casual. There's no, it's for anybody if they want to get on it. It's kind of the same information every week. It's a live call. We record it and send it out usually the next day or two. But if you want to get on that call, you're welcome to get on that call or send people to it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Anybody else?
So assuming the knee would be similar to hip, because I know a few people that are a little bit older and they've had maybe even hip replacements. I don't know if this is something that could apply. I mean, I put them on the X39, but maybe I should be looking more at the Eon and.
No, X39, this was before X39 came out. I think X39 is doing that too. So, because again, we're turning on the stem cells. Stem cells are attracted to inflammation. Inflammation is usually where you have pain. So I would use all 3, this, what I do. So you don't have to, but that's what I do. I always try to wow people and get them the biggest changes the fastest. That's how you get them interested in staying in longer, you know? So, but that's just my spiel. That's my way. It's not the right way. It's just what I do. So I always tell people, try different ways, you know? But yeah, that would be a suggestion, or do all 3.
I mean, I can share very briefly my latest experience or experiment with the patches, if you'll indulge me. Due to social distancing, the only exercise that I can do besides walking around my yard involving someone else has been tennis. Very fortunate that I'm in Florida, and so there are plenty of tennis courts, even in homes, and my in-laws have one. So we've been going up like once a week to play tennis. I haven't played tennis in about 20 years. Not the spring chicken I used to be. And I can honestly say that not only am I not sore after playing for an hour or 2, and again, this is after 0 previous warm-up, but I could literally go on for another day. And the next day I woke up and I was like, does your body hurt? Because my girlfriend's also using the patches. She's like, no, this is very strange, because it would have been otherwise rather sore for, in my past experience, a good 3 days. So, and again, this is me just trying to figure out what is going to work with the people that I know, but I figured I would share that in case anybody wants to pick up a lot. Now's a good time to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, man, this is the craziest stuff, because like your body's healing in real time and recovering in real time, where normally it takes you 3 or 4 days. It's just because our bodies are older, but now they're acting like they're younger when you were only 20. And that's really how I educate people on just what you said. So if they're open to trying it, boom, hopefully they'll get that kind of experience. but I always try to get them to think about other things than just their pain. Like, are you sleeping better? Are you noticing any changes with your vision? And sometimes they don't even notice it because it happens so subtly, and they're going, I didn't even realize this. I had this change and it was so subtle. But if you're not writing everything down, all your aches and pains and problems, you just don't realize it once they slowly go away, unless you remind them. So
Right.
This is the problem I have in practice. So you're dealing with patients now. You're acting like doctors. You actually get to deal with what I deal with, the headaches that people, oh my God, I do feel better, but I didn't realize that. And that's, that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, I guess that's where the health tracker is good to keep them reminded of what it is that they should be looking out for. Because
Yep.
as Katharina said, I think she hadn't even realized that she was getting in and out of her car with a lot more ease until she made a point to kind of remember that she used to have trouble getting in and out of the car.
Yeah.
Hey, Ori, are you complete there with the doc?
Yes, sir. I'm done. Thank you. Sorry for monopolizing.
Okay, very good. Hey, Dr. Nicholas, are you dealing with pro and Olympic athletes at this time, you personally?
No, I did go down that whole kind of a rabbit hole. I was working with, how this works. I was helping somebody get results. Well, come to find out, they were the bank owners of all the small banks in Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas. And that's where K-State is. So Bill Snyder's there. He's kind of like God there. And so they said, please come out and we'll set this up and get you in the door. And so I got to hang out with Bill Snyder for 3 weeks and go get into the Chiefs also, because it opened up a lot of doors. But it didn't go anywhere. It was really, really good for the company because it got a lot of press in one way. But it wasn't like I made a lot of signups out of it or any big connections. It was definitely very ego-y. But I have some really great pictures that I can't use or else I can get sued. So it didn't really help me a lot. But yeah, I've done that, and it was cool, but it didn't make me famous or rich or anything like that. So it definitely was good PR for the company. Yeah. Yeah. Again,
Let's see if there's anybody else. Exactly. Well, I've always said that to people. Because it's a numbers game, and then it becomes a people game, and that's really what it is. And so many people are trying to convince people, and I say educate, then sort, because there's some people who just will not let this in their in their program. They just won't let it in. It's if it's doesn't fit their paradigm, they're not going to, and that includes medical doctors and other people. So boy, this has been so great. I want to just ask one more time, is there anybody on this call that would like to talk to Dr. Nicholas before we end the call? Your first name and where you're from. Okay, looks like not.
Well, actually,
Doc?
if there's nobody else, Dr. Nicholas, this is John Notarianni again. So you were mentioning that, you've got to keep working at building the business. From what I was hearing, what you're saying is it's not so important to get lots and lots of people in using it, but to help them to build more. I think what I'm trying to say is build deep rather than wide. Is that your experience?
Well, anything you do, you want to duplicate. So the simpler you can keep it, the more duplicatable it is. Then you're not doing it all by yourself, because when I was full blown signing a bunch of doctors up, it was just trying to keep them using the product and hopefully sharing the product in terms of like signing other people up. So I always try to teach people simple and to not say a lot, not get caught up in like all the scientific evidence. And most people don't really care about that. All you have to do is say, there's 80 clinical studies, some are on PubMed. Okay, well, that's all I need to know. And they're double-blind placebo. Okay, that's plenty. But some people get so off in the weeds and go, oh my God, I got to learn everything. I got to learn this and that before I tell anybody. So I'm always encouraging people, don't learn too much. because look what I did and I didn't know a thing. And it's called ignorance on fire. And you just want to be passionate and share and ambitious. And that's it, you know, but you don't want to get caught up in doing a whole lot of educating, because the more you educate, the more you're burning people out. So that's why I always tell people, I think that's why the business got such a negative thing in Lifewave, because it is a product that seems like you're healing somebody, which you are, like a doctor would. So then they got into this doctor mentality, and this is where we get into trouble, because so many people are saying we're helping you with your disease, and we can't do that. So you got to be real cool about how you share this stuff without it being making any medical claims. So kind of going all over the place with that answer, but yeah.
And if I could jump in on that one, John,
Yes, please.
in network marketing, going deep gives you stability. Going wide is greater for income. So you want both. And because we have this hybrid binary, the greatest source of income over time as you continue to sponsor people comes from your matching bonuses. And so that makes it really, really valuable to sponsor a lot of people, but you want to always go deep because that gives you your stability.
Okay, thanks, Robin.
You're welcome.
Well, folks, we have Robin Mascari to thank for this. She is a remarkable sweetheart and a genius and a builder extraordinaire. Her and her husband, Gregory, are just wonderful and extraordinary people. And I'm so grateful that she was able to bring Dr. Gregory on this